Today I have a very special video for you guys. If you are a content creator and looking to work with brands or make money and get paid as a content creator in 2024, this video is for you. Whether you are a seasoned creator with thousands of followers or you are just getting started and want to know how to build the correct foundation to get noticed by brands, I had an exclusive interview with one of the fastest growing marketing agencies, and they gave us all of their tips and tricks on how to set yourself up for success to work with brands in 2024. And these guys are not kidding around. They have worked with some massive brands like Mercedes, Toyota, Xbox, Heinz, you name it, they're gonna name it for you as well. But let's dive in and figure out how you guys can set yourself up for success in 2024. Hey guys, so today we have Abby and we have Molly, and they are with Salt XC. I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys for giving me the time out of your crazy busy schedules, because we're in holiday season, so I know you guys are crazy busy. But yeah, we are going to have a conversation about how content creators like myself can position ourselves to work with brands in 2024. So you guys had hired me to work with Toyota Canada, which is just one of your many clients. But when we were together, we had a really great conversation about the creator economy and how we should position ourselves. But how I wanted to talk with you guys about how my community or people like me can get discovered and work with brands that you guys work with. So I'm going to let you guys do most of the talking because you're the experts here. But yeah, tell me a little bit about you guys, what your company is, how big it is, and then we'll go from there.
So I will just start off quickly. Hi, everyone. My name's Abby. I am a manager on the creator team. And this is Molly. I will let her introduce herself and kind of get into what Salt is and what we're all about here.
Thanks, Abby. So I'm Molly. I am a coordinator on the creator team over at Salt. So yeah, we work for Salt Experiential Commerce, which is based in Toronto. We were actually recently recognized as the second fastest growing company in Canada. So for reference, we were the only agency ever that made it into the top 10, which is a huge, huge accomplishment for Salt, as we only started in 2019. So if you think about those timelines, it's mind-blowing. So in short, we're a full-service experiential marketing commerce agency that really focuses on the experience. So we have many, many in-house teams. So from creative to accounts where they lead and execute events. We have media, digital, creator, which is where Abby and I come in. We have Omni Shopper, sponsorship, and many, many more. So there are about 200 employees, I want to say, worldwide. So the main office is in Toronto. We have locations in Chicago, LA, New York, Florida, Australia, believe it or not, and I'm probably missing a few. So some of the campaigns we have worked on and companies we represent, again, the list is endless. So Xbox Canada and US, which are huge for creator specific, which leads to Microsoft. We have Toyota Lexus Canada, which Alex, you mentioned, Kraft Heinz, Labatt. So basically any brand under Labatt. We have Mike's Hard, Corona, Stella, Michelob Ultra. We do a lot of work with Coca-Cola. So under that umbrella, we have Smart Water in the States, which is insane. We do Fairlife and AHA in Canada. And then RBC is definitely one of our top clients as well. And we most recently did a project with Taylor Swift and Avion Rewards, so the launch of her Canadian tour. And then we also did a really insanely cool campaign with Mercedes-Benz. We did a pop-up shop called Maison Mercedes, which is on Bloor Street in the heart of Yorkville in Toronto last year. And we also held their national dealer meeting. So those are just some of the bigger ones that are definitely a bit more recognizable. But again, there are so many other campaigns and clients that we have worked on and will work on in the future.
It's really great, especially because, we only started in 2019. We're kind of a newer agency, but because of all the amazing work that kind of comes out of this company, we have a really great portfolio that these bigger brands learn to trust us, which has been really great. So
yeah, that's huge. So we're talking about what you guys are looking for specifically when you're working with these clients that are creating these incredible products for you. You guys obviously probably have an in-house team, but when you guys reach out to content creators, what is it that you guys are specifically looking for, like when you're hunting for people like me? Obviously, you work with tons of different brands. I specifically work in the automotive niche, but you guys work with Xbox, alcohol companies, banks, whatever. So just, yeah, what is it, like some of the things that you guys look for specifically when you're hunting for content creators?
So this is definitely a loaded question because it really is super campaign specific and client specific. However, some of the main things that we're looking for, first things first, engagement and engagement rate, and making sure that, obviously you produce amazing content. So depending on the campaign and client, obviously we're looking for different niches of creators and with different, size followers. The followers thing kind of comes into account when you're thinking about budget. So typically the people with higher follower counts have more, have higher rates. However, that's really not the case all the time because especially for, those starting out, follower count is not everything. You will build that along the way. What we're really looking for is amazing content. The fact that, your personality is coming out through your content, which makes for a really engaged following. So speaking of, engagement, we use our reporting platform to kind of garner engagement rate, see how connected your audience is with your content, which typically, higher engagement rate comes with these more niche accounts. So having, your account be very specific and tailored to a certain niche, like when we found you for the Toyota campaign, it was a clear fit. And you knew it right off the bat by looking at someone's profile and seeing how engaged their audience is. Because from there, we can then choose you no matter how many followers you have, because we know that you'll create amazing content for the niche that we're looking for. And also that your audience cares about it. Because, a lot of the time, yes, our campaigns are fueled by paid media. So we'll take the assets and actually put money behind those in order to reach a larger audience. But we're also, a big part of it is also organic. So when you post organically on your feed, we are looking for how engaged your audience is going to be and making sure that the campaign that we're reaching out for is going to be authentic to your audience so that we can, it's never a guarantee, but we can pretty much tell that it's going to work on your page and we're going to get the impressions and engagements that we're looking for. High engagement rate for sure, and making sure that, you're not controversial, which is, something we'll get into a little bit, a little bit later when we're going through, big do's and don'ts, but avoid anything controversial on your page because that's a big kind of red flag when we're looking for creators that we want to work with. And makes sense that the larger the brand, the more they're going to avoid anything that could possibly reflect negatively on their brand. So,
right. Yeah. So something I'm hearing there, though, is that there's hope for people with smaller accounts, right? It's not just necessarily about numbers, but what they're kind of building their community around. Like, I don't think I have necessarily the highest follower count specifically on Instagram, but there's a sense of authenticity and engagement within the community that you guys are searching for. So I think it's really cool to hear that just because you have a lower social media account doesn't mean you won't get sought after by marketing agencies like yourselves or bigger brands. Just out of curiosity, like, is there, like, what's the lowest number of followers you guys have worked with offhand?
We have worked with people with, I would say, even under like 1,000 followers. A lot of the time, when we have the smaller budgets where we're looking for more, it's specifically just about the content. We're just looking for people that are going to make incredible content. And sometimes, a lot of the time, actually, that's the people with less followers that are, kind of on the up and up. But yeah, follower count is really like, your followers will come as long as you're making incredible content and engaging properly with your audience and making them feel like they're along for the journey.
Yeah. And Molly, we had talked a little bit earlier about this and some of the very specific things that like you would look for on like what's actually on their page or like how they put their bio and stuff like that. Like, can you give us some of your kind of tactics and when you're looking for someone to work with a brand?
100%. So it kind of leads me to honestly how we found you. Your bio and first glance at your page, automotive content creator and YouTuber. I remember sitting beside Abby and being like, ping, 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 like
We
the light
found
bulb
him.
is going
We
off.
found him.
Nice. Yeah.
And the search, the bio, first glance at the page, we're done. But honestly, it really does make an impact, and it's super effective and helpful to not only us, but to the creator themselves. Like right away, again, automotive content creator, that is exactly what we were looking for in Canada. So, we would suggest keywords, maybe putting your niche in the bio. If you have any hashtags, and keep using them in your posting. A lot of that really makes the world of a difference for some of those smaller up and coming creators.
And especially to that keyword point. So having, working with the platforms and the algorithms is only going to it's only going to make you succeed. So having text on screen that speaks to exactly what you're speaking to or speaks to your niche, making sure that those hashtags are relevant, utilizing the, platform algorithms to your benefit, and making sure, with text on screen, with captions, what you're actually speaking about. And then just engaging your audience on top of that, because word of mouth and finding certain creators that people are going to talk about, because, when you have friends and you have people in the same space, you're talking about the creators that you're following and stuff like that. So getting your name out there as much as possible and making your content the most searchable it possibly can be.
Nice.
You're succeeding.
So as an automotive content creator, you guys found me specifically for this project. Obviously, you guys work with not just Toyota, but Mercedes and other large brands. So specifically, I think because my community is a lot like me, we're automotive photographers or videographers. So what is it about my profile or when you guys found me that made it really, really click for you guys?
Yeah, so I'll take it way back to the initial brief and the ask, and then how we kind of found you.
Okay.
So the original ask from Toyota was, we need to find 3 car creators all over Canada. 1 in Quebec, 1 in Ontario, and 1 from either BC or Alberta. Right off the bat, Quebec and Ontario were a bit easier to find. And as we got into more of the West Coast, we noticed that there was a niche for the automotives that was skewed much more towards off-roading and kind of like that trucking style,
the
outdoorsy
stuff,
yeah, exactly. So we kind of got into a deep dark hole of trucks and off-roading, and we were like, no, like this isn't it. You have to keep searching.
Because we were looking for like more race car specific.
Right.
Yeah,
doing
very,
specifically
exactly.
Gazoo racing, Toyota stuff. So this is like the sports cars of Toyota. So trucks don't really align with this particular one.
Nothing was going hand in hand.
No.
And it was really like, when I tell you, Alex, we were in the weeds, knee deep. Our entire team was like, pause what you're doing. We need to find this third creator that will make all hands on deck. Like, we got to find this third creator that will make this trio complete perfection. And honestly, Instagram. I came across your page on Instagram of photography accounts, some of those outdoorsy trucks account. One account would lead me to the next. And like I mentioned earlier, automotive content creator. I said to Abby, done. We're sold.
We
locked and loaded. Nice. Let's get moving. And again, it was just your profile ticked all the boxes of what we were looking for. And here we are.
Yeah, I love it. And that's one thing I tell, I've done a lot of work with bigger brands too, like Subaru Canada. I've literally taught their whole brand how to do social media. And what I encourage them to do is when you land on Instagram, it's not just a place to post floofy photos. This is your business card. You need to tell people immediately who you are, what you do, and then how you're going to benefit the people that need a reason, honestly, now more than ever, to actually click follow. There has to be something there for people to engage with. Like you guys said, engagement is a huge part of it. But yeah, making sure that's very clear right away. And so this is one of the big takeaways for me from working with you guys and having these conversations was I need to maybe even be more clear on my page, because if you guys had to get into the weeds before you found me, then maybe I need to even be doing more keywording, be more intentional with either the brands I want to work with, or hashtagging more intentionally, or even doing my bio more intentionally. So That's to
Yeah.
me, it was like hugely, highly valuable information. I think if that's like all we get from this conversation, it's like that's good enough. But like you guys have such a deep well of information, so
Yeah. And I will say, just from
yeah,
your profile as well, and I think we'll dig into this a little bit more, but especially having, you had Toyota content already. It may not have been for the exact vehicle that we were looking for, but we were like, light bulb, this is perfect. And again, we'll dive in a little deeper, but that was a big green flag for us where we're like, oh, he already posted about this brand and his audience is already super engaged and resonates well with it. So that was like a cha-ching, let's go. We already have a proof point for the client to show that his audience is already, or your audience is already loving Toyota and responds well to it. So it was a really, really smooth transition into presenting you. Quick yes, green light, and
nice.
you were awesome with the responses as well, which is another thing that we appreciate more than you know.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I know from all of our thank yous and we appreciate yous,
we really
the
do.
response time and getting back to us when we're on a deadline, being responsive, being, a really good person to work with, you are going to be at the top of our list for any future photography or automotive campaigns. And a lot of people, get kicked off those lists purely because, not even because of the kind of content they make. It could be amazing, but you want to be working with someone that has a great attitude and is going to work with you, because even if, there are a million revisions and the client is super specific on a lot of things, being that, okay, no problem person will lead to a lot more opportunities in the future than kind of being more difficult. So,
Yeah. So be quick to respond and be easy to work with, flexible to some degree, because I think it is important for us on like the creator side to recognize you guys are, I don't know if this is the wrong thing to say, but like the middleman, right? Like you're
totally.
here, the brand's here,
100%.
they're asking you for something. So the longer I take to respond to you, the longer you take to respond to them, which makes you guys look bad to like the larger brand. So then it's just this. So the more we can make you guys look good, the more you'll make us look good, and I guess ultimately get us those paid projects that we want to ultimately have. So there's one quick
Exactly.
question I want to ask before we move on to the do's and do nots. You guys have talked a lot about engagement rate, and you have software and stuff you guys look at on the back end. Is there like a practical number we should be shooting for as content creators that's like, if you have a 2% engagement rate, you're off the list. If you've got like a 10, like what number? I don't even know really how to find that number, but like, is there a number we should be looking for? And then maybe I can find ways to teach my community how to get more engagement or something.
Absolutely. So the typical for Instagram is between 3 to 5%, which will be kind of good. Again, it depends on your follower count, because a lot of the time, the more followers you have, not necessarily all of them are going to be seeing your content and interacting with it. You would hope that they do, but yeah, 3 to 5% is typically average. Anywhere between 5 to 10% is like a solid, you are doing amazing. And then in terms of, increasing that engagement rate, it's really about getting, making content that people are going to respond to and going to engage with. Because a lot of the time, you're just putting out a video that's, no one's staying until the end and they're scrolling through, especially on TikTok, you're not going to get those engagements. But if you're speaking to your audience in an authentic way and saying things and speaking to things that they care about, or is funny, or, is engaging, the comment section is going to be flooded and you're going to get the likes and the shares and the engagements that we are looking for.
If you guys are enjoying this interview, do me a huge favor, smash that like button for me, consider subscribing if you enjoy this type of content, and let me know in the comments any questions you might have in addition to some that we've already asked or you want answered. I want to get like some really practical tips here. So Molly and Abby, we talked about why you found me, how you found me, and the good things. And I think I avoided a lot of the things not to do, but there are probably some things that you guys, both as like the larger brands and then as the marketing agencies looking for people like us, what, when you go on our page, you see that you're like, that's a big red flag. We can't work with this person because of these things. Like, what are some of the tips that you guys have in terms of for not to do as content creators?
For the not to do's, there's, kind of a big list, but more generally, and as I spoke to a little bit earlier, don't post anything too controversial that if you were to put your client hat on and you're looking at your page, when you're about to post something, just take that extra few seconds to think about, okay, could this impact, how someone would see my page negatively? Like if you're speaking to drugs or alcohol or promoting it in maybe an irresponsible way, or, even when it comes to the comment section, if you're getting negative comments on your posts, how you respond to those is really, really important because, there are internet trolls everywhere. We all know that, especially when your video goes viral. It opens up the floor for a bunch of
negative Nancy's for sure.
Negative Nancy's, exactly. Good way to put it. So making sure that you're always responding with kindness and have your client hat on of what would they be looking for, and if they saw this, would it be an immediate I don't want to work with you? But at the end of the day, we are looking for authenticity, and you'll hear that word, I'm sure, 150 times throughout this call alone. But we're really looking for, if you enjoy partaking in certain, activities, that's okay. It just, you have to be aware that may come down negatively on you in the future. There's also, when you were talking, Alex, before about, kind of tailoring your page to exactly your content niche, there is a lot of times when you can separate your personal page from your professional page and have your personal where you post your regular day-to-day stuff, and then have your professional page be really, really niche focused, and making sure, using all the tips and tricks with keywords and stuff like that. So avoid controversy and avoid speaking negatively toward brands. We're not saying don't post your opinions. If you have a bad run-in with a brand and you want to put them on blast, by all means, go for it. But just keep in mind that you may not be working with that brand in the future due to, no one wants anything negative about their brand on social, especially because we know how quickly these things spiral. But making sure to avoid any of that. And then also, please don't buy your followers. It is the most obvious thing in the entire world. If you have 200K followers and are getting 18 likes and 3 comments on your post, it's going to be a no from us.
Right. Authenticity and engagement. You guys can see that on the back end with software, so it's useless. Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, to jump in here, sorry, Abby. For example, Alex, so we were in that search of looking for our automotive creators. That was a big, big thing that we found. They had all these followers, but 200 likes, 5 comments, 20 likes, 2 comments. It was crazy. So we really, really had to dive as deep as possible and separate that. And again, our back platform tells us within 2 seconds, this is what the stats are. So they're likely purchase followers.
Yeah, huge.
Exactly. And so just back to the reporting platform for a second, it basically tells us the percentage of active audience that you have per platform. So if there's anything under kind of 50, even 60%, it's not going to be a fit. And it's you're so much better off just having, growing your followers. Again, back to, we don't always care about the number of followers that you have. It's all about the content, and it's all about what, the authenticity behind it.
Well, that's huge. Even let's call it you're selling a product. If you have 10 followers, but they're all maybe 10's a bit low, but if all 10 of them decide to purchase the thing that you are selling because they trust you, you've built that relationship, that's better than having 10,000, but no one's really paying attention. So it's a really interesting point. And I also love that it's encouraging for those younger, smaller channels too, to build that niche brand. It's okay to have your niche brand Instagram and a personal one on the side, but that way it makes you more searchable by brands. And we also talked about, making the content that you want to be seen by, and that I think probably comes down to if you're working with Xbox or you want to work with Xbox, maybe don't be playing PlayStation on your channel, so to speak, right? So is there other examples of this that we should be thinking about, or do you have any other do nots that we should be thinking about as well?
Absolutely. So I guess now I'll pivot more to the do's
Okay.
And really, what you should make sure that, especially as you're an up and coming creator who may not have this 100K following just yet, making sure that, what we always suggest, and anyone that I've spoken to in the creator world, is when you're starting out, make a list of your dream brands. Have it out, put it on your vision board, make sure that you know exactly who you want to be working with. And what we suggest a lot of the time is do the nitty gritty, do the grunt work up front, create amazing, free content with products that you love, because if you're posting with a brand, you are going to be noticed by that brand, especially, in this day and age. Every single brand you've heard of has their social media coordinator or social media manager that is in the weeds of it daily, and no matter if they respond or not, they're seeing your content. So if you're posting, let's say something with Xbox, and you are a diehard fan, you have a previous Xbox that you're like, I love this, these new games just came out, speaking to it, making amazing content, Xbox is going to see that. They're going to automatically put you in the roster of, first on the list when they are thinking, when it's time for creator partnerships to happen, they're going to think of you. They're going to be like, oh, we have this incredible person post this amazing content. Let's work with them, no matter the following, again. But it also, it may open doors for, I don't know if everyone here knows exactly what social listening is, but oftentimes
I haven't
brands...
heard of it. You could tell me for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
So social listening is basically what I'm talking about, of people just make, from the brand side, we are always social listening. So there are certain platforms that do it, but a lot of the time it comes down to just, when I'm scrolling on TikTok, and let's say for Kraft Heinz, someone posts about Kraft dinner, and they post, Kraft dinner is my favorite. I just, this is a new way to make Kraft dinner. It goes viral. We're going to see that, or someone on our team is going to see that, and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, this person, let's send them out all the Kraft dinner. Let's get them every single flavor. Let's get it out ASAP. And making sure that, that's a huge thing for brands, that they are actively social listening and listening to what people are talking about their brands. So there's actually an amazing example with the North Face. So there was this girl that went on a hike. She had a windbreaker, and she's filming a TikTok video being like, this North Face jacket, I am absolutely soaked through. It said it was waterproof. It's not. This is brutal. North Face, you're in trouble. North Face did the most incredible act of social listening, where they filmed a TikTok video replying to one of the, comments where they were tagged in the video being like, North Face, fix this. They were like, no problem. They showed a video of one of their employees running into the North Face store, grabbing a new jacket, running, hopping on a helicopter, delivering the jacket to this girl, and then flying back. So being like, we're listening, we're around. Brands are watching. If you are posting content that not only aligns authentically with your niche and your profile and your personality, but brands will see that. And if you post incredible content with their product, they're going to notice it. And agencies like us are going to notice it. And we're going to want to work with you ASAP immediately.
The hashtags are so important. Tagging whatever the brand might be is also extremely, extremely important to make sure that they do see that content that we're talking about creating.
Cool. And I do remember actually earlier in my career making sure I was going to those channels, whether it was Toyota or Porsche, and seeing what their hashtags that they were using currently for whatever campaigns they were using. So paying attention to, I guess this is social listening in practice from the creator side, and figuring out what their priorities are, what they're tagging, and then adding those into my hashtags. I think hashtags is harder now. Instagram doesn't encourage more than 5 or something. So I don't know if it's different.
I think they say 3 to 5. But yeah, okay. Once put the most important ones in I would say stick to 3 to 4 at most, because after I think 3, they don't it doesn't get looped in. To the algorithm.
So that's super interesting to know. But yeah, so this means that we need to be hyper focused on the brands that we want to work with, So when you're making those posts, make sure that you're doing your research, hashtagging intentionally, and then making sure that your business card is set on Instagram when people actually come to it. So that's hugely valuable information.
Another point for that also is like going to these brands' pages and seeing the type of content that they're posting and emulating that, because you know what they're posting and reposting. Like, especially, someone like Red Bull, for example, they do an incredible job they don't post anything that's product specific. If you go to their Instagram or a TikTok page, it is all active and their brand is subtly incorporated in each post, but it's not posting photos of the can and people drinking the can. It's authentic. It's sponsored, their sponsored logo on athletes or, the product in situ, which is really important. But emulating that content style will only make you more noticed.
That's a ton of super valuable information. Let's summarize just so I make sure I'm honoring your guys' time here. What's the top 5 things that content creators should do as we're moving into 2024, setting goals, kind of figuring out what brands we want to work with, making our dream list of brands. What are top 5 things you guys would suggest for content creators like myself to be doing to get noticed?
So number 1, tailor your content to a niche, making sure that these hashtags, the captions, the keywords, that whatever you're speaking to comes across immediately. Someone looks at your page, even in your name, you would be the car creative. It was boom, bang. We know what we're looking at. We know what we're looking for. And then as Molly has spoken to, your bio is just a clear check. And just making sure that you're speaking to your niche in the most authentic way. Second being, build your community and build it right. So responding to comments, actively engaging your followers, both in the and the comment section, and also using the platform tools. So, for Instagram, for example, putting polls in your stories, engaging your audience, personalizing your own brand will only make your followers feel more connected to you and therefore want to engage more with your content to increase your engagement rate.
Totally.
Which we know is very important. And then, for TikTok, replying to a comment on one of your previous posts. We've seen amazing engagement and, virality when it comes to that kind of stuff, because you're showing that you actually care about what they're saying and you're building an actual community of engaged followers that are going to want to connect and hype you up, whether it's an organic post or it's a sponsored post. They're going to really have your back in that, and it's going to prove in your engagement rate. Number 3, creating the sample content with products you love. You know yourself, you know your niche, you know what you're trying to do, and setting out those goals of your dream brands and what you want to kind of do and work with them on. Creating that sample content will only aid you in the future, even though it might take a little bit of extra work up front. It just provides so much proof for brands to then want to partner with you, because they already know you make amazing content and they already see that your audience is already engaged with this brand and the style of and the type of product. Number 4, we've said this a bunch: avoid controversy and don't buy your followers. It's so obvious. It hurts. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Followers are not as important as you think they are. It's so much more about the content and the authenticity behind it. That follow account, it'll come. If you're making the great content, the followers will come. And then lastly, be authentic, be you. This word again is used constantly in every single campaign that we do. Every single brand is looking for authenticity because, the world of influencer and creators and social media has evolved so much in the last few years, especially after COVID, when everyone and their mothers and brothers and aunts and uncles, dogs, became an influencer and became these content creators. So being authentic and having products having brands see your content be super authentic, they will be able to visualize how their product can seamlessly be integrated into your content and content style. And that's why we will choose to work with you. all about the authenticity. If there's anything we want all of your followers and beyond to walk away with, it's be authentic and create content for, for your exact niche, that if you were a brand and you were looking at your content, would you want to work with you?
I love it. And I'll speak a little bit to like the engagement, like for my community. One of the biggest ways early on that I was growing, and this is before it blew up, was just asking questions in my captions, just like actually giving people the opportunity to engage rather than just saying like, here's a Toyota. It's like, which Toyota would you pick out of these 3 GR cars? It just gives people the opportunity. It cues a response. Like you said, being active in comments was really, really big. And actually, DMs, like if you get DMs from direct messages from people, respond to them, because that actually puts you further up the list in their like feed, because that means they want to engage with you. They want to be a part of your community. So if you re-engage with them, you'll go higher up in their actual feed post, which means you'll get more and more engagement with them. So that's a quick hack as well. But yeah, just I like the polls suggestion and stories. Just trying to create ways that you can actually engage with your community is super important, and that will bring people in to actually follow you, like you said, building the followership. Having that conversation with Abby and Molly gives me so many insights into how I need to be crafting my Instagram page, how I need to be crafting my content as I look into 2024. I'm definitely going to be making a dream board of brands I want to work with, and I'm going to be way more intentional with my hashtags and positioning my content in a way that is appealing and appeasing to those brands that I really want to work with. I'm really encouraged by the fact that you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of followers or subscribers or have a viral video, but rather to be engaging the community that you do have, I think is such a great insight. So let me know in the comments section down below if you guys have any questions on how to build that community. We can up your retention and hopefully be able to actually get paid as a content creator, which I think practically for most of us is ultimately the goal, is to be able to do what we love and get paid to do it. So with all that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this interview as much as I did. Thank you so much for your time and for listening, and I hope that I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.